Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. Behind me I have my 2004 Toyota 4runner. Current subscribers, I've seen that everybody's loving this 4th gen videos, and I figured I'll make a quick video on upgrade that I'm currently doing, and that is skid plate upgrade. Typically when you go off-road, you want to make sure that that undercarriage is well protected, make sure that you're not going to come high centered on a rock or anything and penetrate that oil pan. So I bought, in this case, the Coastal Off-Road skid plate, and in this case it was a DIY one where you have to weld yourself. So it wasn't that bad, as you'll see in the video. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I hope you guys enjoy this short montage of me putting it together and putting the skid plates on and seeing the difference between the stock and the Coastal Off-Road one. So thanks again, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's go ahead and get to it. So I've been really bad about filming everything that I'm doing on the 4runner, and that's because I'm on a time crunch. I approximately have about a month before I make a trip out west, and I'm trying my best to get everything done. I still got a whole list of things to do. So just wanted to pick up the camera really briefly right now. It's around 10:30 at night. I still have the rear skid plate to do. I'll take a little bit of footage of that. But definitely it's not going to be a how-to on any of these videos. And right now, hopefully you guys can see me, but right now, as you can see, I have everything tacked. Nothing's permanently welded. This is a Coastal Off-Road, if I'm correct, DIY skid plate. And right now I'm just tacking everything in place. As you can see, I'm about to tack in the diff guard right there. It drops a little bit, not much, but yeah guys, I just wanted to apologize because I know I told y'all that I was going to take y'all along with the build, but just been hustling. Okay guys, I have the stock skid plate and the Coastal Off-Road side by side, and right off the bat I can tell you guys this is super flimsy metal. It's probably 1/8 thick, as you can see. I don't know if you guys can tell that on camera, but it's really thin. I could basically warp this metal with one hand. This is plastic. The front skid's a little bit more beefier, but it's that much more thicker, so it will hang down a lot lower on the vehicle than the Coastal Off-Road one. And when you're going off-road, you want as much ground clearance as possible so you don't get hung up on rocks or stumps or whatever it is that you're going over. Now this one, as you can see, it's a lot longer, therefore having a lot more ground undercarriage coverage. And as you can see, these are some beefy metal skids, and they do have some weight to them. But I highly recommend, guys, if this is something that you guys want to do, I highly recommend, probably the first thing you guys want to upgrade on your armor, right after rock sliders. But this will protect your transmission oil pan, your differential, your engine oil pan, and it's going to give you a lot more ground clearance that you need. So I failed to record how this used to originally sit underneath there, so I'm going to briefly put that underneath the vehicle and give you guys a better idea on how the stock one compares to the Coastal Off-Road one. And yeah, so let me go ahead and briefly overlay that underneath the vehicle and let you guys see what it covers and what it doesn't cover. And yeah, let me go ahead and get to it. So okay guys, I went ahead and put the stock skid plate on, just to show you guys the difference between the Coastal Off-Road and the stock skid plate. So we're going to find out how much ground clearance we gained with the coastal off-road one. And on a nice level surface, this one sits, the lowest point sits right at exactly 1 foot. We got 1 foot of ground clearance. Let's see if I can get a close-up on the camera. You can see right there is exactly 1 foot. So we have 1 foot of ground clearance. We'll see how much we gain with the coastal off-road one. Every little bit counts, so hopefully we can go ahead and gain some ground clearance. And not only that, like I mentioned, this stock one exposes your engine oil pan and your transmission oil pan. That last piece right there is plastic, and you want to make sure that those two oil pans are covered, and you know that they're not going to get punctured or banged up or anything like that. So you definitely want to make sure that your undercarriage is well protected when you're wheeling. So let's go ahead and take these stock skids out and then try to install the new ones, and we'll see how much ground clearance we actually gain. Some of the welds here. I'm not a welder by no means, but I'm pretty happy on how they came out. Coastal Off-Road didn't send me these little metal pieces, so I had to make my own. But that's pretty much it. Other than that, it was really straightforward. There's some reinforcement in here, as you can see, so that's nice. You got some reinforcement in the middle right there, and of course on the sides. And so yeah, let's go ahead and slap it in. It is definitely heavy, a lot heavier than the stock one, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and slap it on, and you'll see me struggle trying to lift this on my own. It's heavy. Oh yeah. Another thing is that there is a plate that they send you that goes on top of this cross member, and that just makes it a little bit more rigid, more reinforced. So yeah, I'm gonna put a 2x4 because the jack doesn't reach all the way up to compress this far enough, and hopefully it'll sandwich it a lot tighter, and I'm able to put that nut on top with a washer. There we have it. So there's 2 bolts here, so you can see you still have access to your oil drain bolt, which is nice. And then you also have holes here to relocate this transmission line, I believe, and you can go ahead and put some bolts with nuts on there. That way your cooler lines can stay where they were at, and they can be secured. So we'll go ahead and finish tightening these bolts up and move on with the rear skid. So really happy how it turned out. One of the things that you'll do is actually tack these side pieces while you have it on the 4runner. That way when you come back and install it fully, they're not going to rub against anything here. In this case, everything sits really nice. So yeah, we're going to finish bolting up this front skid and move on to the rear, like I mentioned. Something that I countered when I try to get it, hopefully this camera angle is not that bad. When I try to place it in here like a puzzle, it fits, but it's not correctly adjusted, and the bolt holes don't line up here. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to loosen all these bolts again, That way I can scoot it forward. That's where it needs to go. As you can see, this has a little bit of adjustment room, and this whole skid plate needs to go forward some so the rear could fit. So I'm gonna leave everything loose, and that way I can adjust it at the rear skid plate. I figured I'd show you guys if y'all ended up purchasing a skid plate from Coastal Off-Road, or in general, I think this will come in handy if you're installing some aftermarket skids. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up the front skid, and that way I can adjust it, and then I'll tighten everything up once everything fits nice and properly. Okay guys, I don't know if you can see that, but that is scooted forward. I'm gonna try to finesse the rear and see if the bolt holes align, and hopefully it will. So move these out of the way. Mop this up. It's looking better. And yes, it is gonna be a tight fit, but it will fit. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get these 2 bolts in here. Where's our 2 bolts at? Oh god. Okay. Get one there. One over here. Big fail, guys, big fail. And I'm happy to share it with y'all. So, maybe I should have read the instructions. But as you can see, I need to put some bolts in through here. Now what was holding that top plate was 2 bolts that they tell you to put first. Well, I have to take out the front skid. Probably should have read this. I need to install the rear skid first and then the front skid. So guys, note that. Put the first skid, the rear skid first, and then put the second skid, the front skid. So back to taking everything out. I'm not gonna bore y'all with that. I'm gonna take out the front skid, and that way I can bolt the rear skid on good. And then, yeah. Skid plate's installed. I'm gonna go ahead and lower it from the ramps, and we'll see how much extra ground clearance we... Oh, I'm sorry, I dropped y'all. We're gonna see how much extra ground clearance we actually gained with the skid plates. I wouldn't be surprised if it's about the same. Since it's so heavy, it's probably gonna weigh the front end down. But let's go ahead and figure out. Okay guys, so moment of truth. Let's see how much ground clearance we actually gained. Like I said, most likely it's probably going to be the same, if not worse, because these skid plates are really heavy. But I still have to go up a little bit on my lift. But let's just see how much ground clearance we gained, or if it stayed the same. So the old stock skids were originally exactly 1 foot. Let's see how much these will be. So okay, we are right at 1 foot and a half inch, a foot and a half inch. So we gained ½ inch. Now that is very little, but considering that we are going to be well protected underneath there, in my opinion, I think it's well worth it. That way we gained ½ inch ground clearance, and we know for sure that the underbelly is going to be well protected of any rocks protruding through the old pan or anything like that. But not with these. These things are really heavy duty, and like I said, it for sure weighed the 4runner down some. These things are really heavy. But like I said, I still need to go up on the suspension. I have it at 2.5 on the Bilsteins. I'm not gonna be able to see it, but I have one little notch left to go up, and that'll raise the front end a little bit more. It'll raise the front end a little bit more, but let's go ahead and get a further distance view on how this Skidplate looks. Okay guys, wrapping it up. The skid plates are installed, ready to get smashed against some rocks. Really happy the way they came out. And if you guys are interested on coastal off-road skid plates, go ahead and hit them up. I am not sponsored by them or any means, or by any means I should say, but I like their product. Everything fit really good, especially since I welded it together. I'm no welder and I'm no fabricator, but you know, it was pretty easy to assemble, and all you really need is a welder, a grinder, and you're good to go. This kit that I got specifically didn't have the bolts, but you can purchase the bolts online, or you can scramble and find some bolts like I did. But all in all, I'm really happy with the skid plate, and I know for a fact that it did weigh the 4runner down. I'm not sure, maybe on the video you guys can see a difference, but I definitely see the difference. It's dipping down a little bit. But I'll go ahead and leave a weight description on how heavy these skid plates are. But I'm really happy. I'd rather carry the extra weight and lose a little bit of my ground clearance. I'd rather lose that than lose a transmission oil pan or be stranded on a trail. So I know for a fact underneath it's going to be pretty protective. And yeah, so anyways, thank you for tuning in. Like always guys, I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and maybe in some way it helped you guys out. And yeah, so if you guys consider subscribing to the channel, it's going to be a lot more upgrades done to the 4runner and other off-road related content. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. Y'all have a fantastic day. See you on the next vid.